app if anybody's unfamiliar.
Andy does all the real work here. I just kind of get on videos and talk about stuff sometimes. That's kind of my role here, everybody. But anyway, where are you tuning in from? I really want to hear for all y'all that are able to join us live. Please pop into the chat. Take a minute. Tell us where you're watching from. I'm here in Los Angeles. I actually have no smoke in the air today. Thankfully, we had some crazy fires last week, but all is good on this side of the world over here in my world. Andy, where you at?
I'm in St. Louis, and yeah, we just got a bunch of snow, so basically the opposite. And yeah, it's all iced and caked on, so it'll go away one day.
Nice. Winter is here. All right, we got some people. Yeah, Kelly from Table Rock Lake, Missouri. Nice. How close is that to St. Louis?
That's probably pretty close, actually. I actually don't know.
Love that. Patrick in Rochester, Jen in Maine, West Palm Beach,
London.
Florida. Very jealous of West Palm Beach, Florida right now. Oh, Mark in London. Yeah, we see some familiar faces. I love you, Mark. What's up? We got more Maine, New Hampshire, Lincolnshire, UK. I recognize you too. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Austin. Whoa. We have people from all over the world here today. This is awesome, you guys. Youngsville, North Carolina, Plantation, Florida. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that town in Massachusetts. Andy, do you want to try that one? Situate? Jayberg, South Africa, Washington, Toronto, Las Vegas. Yeah. Maribel, I will be in Las Vegas in a few weeks at the Affiliate Summit West Conference. If you want to get together, this offer goes to anyone watching. If you want to meet up in Las Vegas, if you happen to be there around February 3rd through the 6th, I will be in town. And Jessica, we got a question already. Will a transcript be available? We will make a recording of this live available after the stream. It's going to be available right here at the same URL. And we'll publish a transcript and a recap blog post to go along with this. So as long as you're on the RightBlogger email list, you'll get a heads up with all that info. Phoenix, South Florida, Chicago, Eureka, what? Maryland, New Orleans.
Shout out Maryland.
Yeah. Andy's a Maryland native. New Orleans, Lagos, Tennessee, Birmingham. Oh, this is so good. Cool. Maribel, definitely drop me a message. We'll get together in Las Vegas. Arendelle, UK. Oh, man, this is awesome. The Spirit Nomad. Yeah, we love you. Oh, this is so cool. All right, guys. I don't want to burn too much time here in the chat. We want to make the most of your time. So please, if you have any questions related to marketing, getting the most out of using AI tools, content creation process, anything that's relevant in these kind of spaces, there's no wrong time to ask a question. Please just pop it into the chat anytime you've got it. Andy and I will be keeping an eye on the chat and make sure that we get to your question during the Q&A section of this live. We'll be spending about the next 30 to 40 minutes, kind of TBD based on how many questions we see rolling in here. On the presentation portion where we'll be walking through our marketing playbook, and then we're going to hop over to the Q&A portion. Oh, I see some more people I love here. Lisa, Ntathu. Oh, so good. Gregory, yes, this will be recorded live. You'll be able to watch later anytime. It'll be available at this link here. And if you're on the RightBlogger email list, we'll send out the recording link so you'll have that in your inbox as well. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get started talking about the real meat of our presentation here today. And I'm a big fan of doing live demos. So I want to plant this seed right now. If you guys have a niche that you're working in, topics that you like creating content about, I'd love for you to go ahead and pop into the chat and tell us what you blog about. What does your business do? How do you help people? What is your goal? These are the kinds of things that we want to keep an eye on and really incorporate it into the presentation that we're going to be going through here today. So I want to get started here. Let me go ahead and share my screen if we can figure out how to do it here without whiffing it. All right, here we go. So Up here on my screen right now, I've got just the RightBlogger homepage. And I want to just quickly take 1 minute talking about RightBlogger for all of y'all that may not be a RightBlogger Unlimited subscriber or a free user of RightBlogger. Please go ahead and create a free account if you want to take advantage of all the different tools we have inside of RightBlogger. Andy's made over 80 tools. 80, kind of insane, I know. But this is basically everything we wished we had when we first started creating content and building websites on an actual affordable budget. So our unlimited plan's $29.99 a month. If you get the annual, it's even cheaper. There's a steep discount on that. So this is not a sales pitch, but I wanted to show you real quick just what comes with the unlimited plan. When you join unlimited, you get a free 30-minute advice call with me. We hop on, we do a strategy session. I see a lot of names of people here in the stream who I have talked with one-on-one and helped work on a game plan for growing their blog, their audience, their business. This is essentially time where I hop on with you and I'm your business coach for half an hour and we keep in touch. I see a lot of names here for people I've chatted with a lot over the past couple of years. We also have a course library inside of RightBlogger. Right now, we rolled out our first course recently, AI Foundations. It's basically a longer, more extended version of what we're going to be covering here today. So if you haven't signed up for the course yet, it's totally free. Whether you're on the free account or unlimited with RightBlogger, you'll be able to take this course and get an even more in-depth instruction on AI marketing in your business. So highly recommend this one. It also tracks your progress so you don't forget where you're at. There's fun challenges, there's a lot going on, and we're going to be adding more courses soon. Last but not least, this is our private RightBlogger community for everyone who's a RightBlogger Unlimited member. I created a couple of blog reviews just last night, one for Danielle, one for Shan, where I asked, hey guys, anyone want some feedback on their blog, how we can grow? And there's a lot of cool stuff going on here in our private Discord group for RightBlogger Unlimited customers. And that's it for the sales pitch, everybody. Let's talk about the real meat of our subject matter today, AI marketing flywheel. Now, this is the foundation of what we've learned to be a really effective step-by-step process that's rinse and repeat. Now, it's pretty similar to what we did before AI was around. However, we now can do these things much faster, particularly in this creation stage. So step one, identify real audience pain points. That's always step number one. You want to really figure out what your audience is having the most struggles with. And then number two, you create content to meet those real pain points. We're not talking about making up needs, making up problems that don't actually exist. We want to make sure that it's really truly validated that someone has this challenge and that probably more than one person has it too. So it's a repeatable thing that you'll be able to reach people and then eventually help grow your business by helping others. And we're going to be walking through this researching, this pain point identification step first and foremost. Next, we're going to dive into the creation process, how to actually create content that meets these real challenges people have. And then step number three, actually making sure your content solves these challenges. This is a really big one. I see a lot of people create content that sort of manufactures a problem that doesn't really exist, or perhaps it misses the intent of what the actual problem is that someone has. So making sure you hit that intent correctly. And then finally, promoting content. That's going to be the most fun part because it kind of never ends. There's a lot of different ways you can promote content. We're going to be walking through a few of our favorite ways here in this presentation. And then after that, after we go through the process, we'll open it up to Q&A. And as I said in the beginning, please feel free to hop in, ask your questions, anything you have related to AI, marketing, blogging, content creation. There's no wrong question. There's no wrong time to ask. So Andy, do you want to hop in? Do you want to add anything on top of that? Feel free to interrupt me anytime you see good questions or if I'm just talking too long and I'm putting everyone to sleep.
We love to hear you talk, so I'll definitely cut you off if you're talking too much. But I just want to point out that the pain point area, like one great way to find pain points is actually to go out and do whatever you're creating content about, because if it's creating websites, like for what I do, or photography, like I quickly find pain points that I'm having to go through. And that's like a really great way to quickly find things that, other people are probably going to like have to figure out, and you can quickly like identify those and put them on your content.
I'm so glad you said that because it's one of those things that's so seemingly obvious to go do the thing, like actually work through that process, like put yourself in the shoes of the person who has the problem and figure out how to solve it the best way. But I get emails from people all the time that talk about wanting to start a blog, their very first blog, and for the subject matter to be teaching other people how to make money blogging when they haven't yet figured out how to make money blogging themselves. And so that's kind of the step one that I always point people back to is like, well, how about you choose an interest area, a topic that you have a personal investment in, some experience, perhaps a passion, a hobby, right? And then go much deeper in that before you get to, step XYZ when you're on step ABC. Beautiful. All right, guys, I want to go ahead and talk about pain point identification. This is number one. It's also, in my opinion, the most important step because this is where I see a lot of people overlook really solid problems and miss the intent of how to actually solve problems for people. So the first place I want to go is to the keyword research tool inside RightBlogger. And you can use this tool if you have a free account. Just make sure you're signed up on RightBlogger and you'll be able to use this. I think our free account limits right now are somewhere around 1,000 words per day, and it resets every 24 hours. So you can actually do a lot here inside RightBlogger for free. So please get the most out of it. Now, in the keyword research tool, I want to choose the example because I chatted with her yesterday. I did a review of her site. Diane, I wonder if you're here in the live. I didn't see you in the chat yet, but Diane reaches Squarespace web designers, and she's a Squarespace web designer herself. We have a few customers I know who are in the Squarespace web design service industry. And so I want to pull an example for them. And this example will be applicable no matter which space you're in. Just take the problem-solving process that we're following here. So let's start with one of the most common, obvious challenges that people have related to building a Squarespace website. It's pretty obvious if you ask me. Squarespace templates are a fantastic starting point, but if you're not quite sure where to start, let's just say you want to create content around Squarespace because you like building websites in Squarespace and you want to offer that as a service to people. You could type in Squarespace websites into the SEO keyword cluster tool. This is one of my favorites inside RightBlogger. And when you go ahead and hit generate on that, it's going to come up with a really solid list of categories that is research backed, SEO backed. This is what we've gone out to Google. We've essentially figured out, hey, this is what Google says every site related to Squarespace websites should probably consider having from a category perspective. And then nested underneath all these bullet points, we've got individual blog post ideas. And so I'm just
Hey Ryan, can you make the screen a little bigger? Just Command plus a couple times.
Command plus. There we go.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay. So we see all the different categories here. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff, honestly, that possibly all of this could be really good blog material if you're starting a site or you have a site where you want to offer your services as a Squarespace website designer and you want to attract leads from Google and other search engines. But I want to pick one example here. I see Squarespace templates. This was one I flagged ahead of time because I know this is a topic that a lot of people search for and need some real help with. And one of the best ways if you build Squarespace websites to attract customers is to offer templates. Starter templates for people to get their own site up themselves. And then, some people that'll be perfect, whether you sell it or it's free, that'll be really helpful to them. And then other people, they'll look into the templates and they'll be like, whoa, this is a lot of work. Maybe I should hire this person who made the template to implement it for me. So that's a little bit of the business logic behind kind of the pain point solution here. So I'm going to go ahead and snag this Squarespace templates right here. I'm just going to copy that. And then what I want to do is coming back to our original topic here, pain point solution. So I want to identify the best way to approach solving for this pain point. So I'll come to the keyword research tool and I'm going to just leave this country, United States, target language, all. You can toggle this based on where you're at in the world and who your audience is, but I'm just going to hit submit on that. And what I'm essentially looking for here is to see what people are actually typing into search engines based on the topic Squarespace templates. And this is going to provide me with some ideas, some guidance, some direction beyond what the keyword cluster tool already gave me. And what I like most about this tool, Andy built this, is that you can filter by monthly search volume here in this column. So you can see which ones have the most searches up top. Or if you want to cherry pick the stuff with the least competition, you can flip this upside down and see the lowest volume terms right here at the top. Now, you can do the same with competition and cost per click. Cost per click, this one, I usually just look to see if there is a value in one of these columns, because this kind of validates, all right, if people are paying to host ads for this term in Google, they're probably monetizing that traffic somehow. I don't put too much stock in what the actual value is. Obviously, seeing something that's $143 per click tells me that the competition is probably actually quite high. But again, all of these are simply estimates. So I want to scroll through here and find an example of a keyword phrase that we can pick for kind of following this through to our process, eventually ending in promotion, and then next step, creating the actual content. So I was going through this and I was just doing a little homework before we got started, and I really liked the topic of Squarespace templates for therapists. I think really this is one of the best ways to attract highly targeted potential buyers is to niche your topics down. So we can see here that something like Squarespace templates gets an estimated 9,900 monthly searches, which again, these tools are all just estimates. Don't take this exactly as what it says here. I find these tools, no matter who makes them, are always going to be a bit off no matter what, because search volume is kind of a moving target, and we're working with the best data we've got. But something like Squarespace templates, almost 10,000 people a month are searching for. The competition, very high. I trust that for something like Squarespace templates. My hunch is that, yes, that's going to be really, really hard to rank for. So niching down to something that fewer people are searching for is a really smart way to go ahead and position yourself for actually driving more targeted customers and being able to rank in search engines faster. Now, we can see that a lot of these are being categorized as very high here. And maybe that's the case, but as search volume goes down, we're seeing a lot of 10s, 20s, 30s here. The competition level is likely also going down a bit too. As I said, take these tools always with a grain of salt, even the ones that we make. None of this is perfect. I like doing keyword research to basically validate that there is indeed real demand for these topics. So I want to go ahead and, for the sake of our example here, choose Squarespace templates for therapists, because if I were running a Squarespace web design business myself, I'm a freelancer, I'm a consultant, I run an agency, it doesn't really matter. I want to attract leads based on more specific pages and posts on my site. Another good example would be photographers. I saw a few real estate, right? Like these are for authors, coaching templates. These are really good niche ways to approach this topic. And you can have, say, 10, 20 different blog posts attacking each of these little niche categories and driving traffic on less competitive terms, rather than trying to just rank for Squarespace templates, the most competitive one out there. So let's run with Squarespace templates for therapists. Now, what you could do from here is you could hit the tools button and you could jump straight over to generating an article. You could generate some post ideas. You could make a keyword cluster around this and see what kinds of more detailed ideas there are. None of these are wrong options. But what I want you to do next, once you've identified a real topic, that pain point, is to go and understand what the pain is. Going back to what Andy said earlier, put yourself in the shoes of the real person. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this keyword phrase, and we're going to go over and do a Google search so that we actually see what's going on this search engine results page. This is going to put ourselves in the shoes of a therapist who maybe wants to redo their website and they're turning to Google to help guide them. And so
And I just want to point out, if you do Google research, definitely always do an incognito window. Right now, Ryan's doing it in his tabs just because it's easier to stream. But always do an incognito window, because your site will actually rank above everything else, likely because that's what you click. But it's a great way to like make sure it's unbiased and you're seeing what random people will see.
yes, thank you. Beautiful. So, number one, this is no surprise. We see that Squarespace has their own blog post for this. And, this hasn't been updated since August 2023. It's pretty outdated content. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Probably fairly outdated content. It looks like kind of just a best practices, what your website needs if you're a therapist kind of content. Maybe it's good, but it's not actual templates. And so that tells me, boom, there's a little bit of an intent miss with Squarespace's post. And I think there's probably a long-term opportunity if you create some really good content to perhaps rise above that. Maybe not, because Squarespace has such strong domain authority, but ranking up in the first few results here, I do see these ones are template pages. So if I were really spending a lot of time on the research stage here, and we weren't doing a live class that was trying to get through a bunch of stuff, what I would do is I would click into a lot of these posts and I would scan through. I'd learn, I'd gather some inspiration. I'd see what these posts are doing well, posts or pages. I'd see what they're doing well. I would identify some opportunities for where I think they're lacking. And there's something about really just kind of tuning yourself into what's missing from a particular page, what doesn't quite feel right when you're looking at it. So listen to what your gut is telling you when you look at these kinds of things. I see this one here, 24 therapy website examples on Squarespace. This is a pretty good title, in my opinion. I think something that starts with a number is really going to nail it. I don't see anything. Here we go. This is the first one with a title that starts with a number, which I think is really important for the intent of something like Squarespace templates for therapists. This one, 9 best Squarespace themes for therapists. And so that's a slight keyword mismatch in my opinion. And then this one, there's no numbers. 6 Squarespace templates that are perfect for therapists. This might be one of the better headlines. I think this misses something on the capitalization front. I think, people anecdotally tend to jump for more of the, first letter of each word capitalized kind of style, but maybe that's my personal bias. And then last but not least, always gather as much insight as you can from the people also search for section. Sometimes this is going to be at the bottom of the search engine results page. Sometimes it'll be at the top, or you'll see a little people also ask box here. Basically, I want you to take in as much detail as you can from every single thing you're seeing on the search engine results page. We're spending a lot of time here for a reason. And this gives us some potential ideas on maybe other directions we'd want to take for our post or our page that tackles this topic.
It's also really good to point out, like, if videos are the top thing, or articles, or like news, because if there's videos on the top, you likely probably won't rank with an article, and vice versa. So it's always good to look at the types of media showing up.
That is so true. I love
And
that.
a really good thing to look for is, like, if you see a Quora post or a like Stack Overflow post. Sometimes Reddit now is kind of like over ranking, but basically, like, forums, if they're ranking high, it's a good signal that, like, you could write an article and actually rank up there, because it's kind of like not really great content up there.
Yeah. Anytime you see like a Quora or Reddit answer somewhere near the top of search engine results, that's basically a huge green flag that if you create some more in-depth content around the subject matter, you could probably do pretty well on that search term.
And we
So,
also have a tool for the people also ask part. I don't know if you
yes,
want to. I don't know if you want to show that in a little bit,
I'll
Ryan. But
show that real quick. This is a really good one. If you want to really check out some of these more kind of niche topics, I've got it favorited over here inside my RightBlogger account. But anytime you want to find a tool, you can just pop into the search bar, just type in people. You can see people also ask, and then we'll do our Squarespace templates for therapists.
and
And
I
then
also added a little like summary. You'll see. So once Ryan runs this, there should be a summary at the top that kind of like identifies some good spots, ways to go.
perfect.
Only one thing showed up, I guess, for that one. Maybe it's a
We got
too long of a query.
Yeah, it's pretty niche of a query, but we can see
Yeah.
it kind of qualifies it with like the free, and then we've got best. Yeah, this is a really interesting one. It's probably too niche of a topic for it to gather
Yeah.
a lot of rich information, but
If
it's
you
a
just do
great way to
Squarespace
filter
templates,
down like bigger topics into more niche topics. Cool. All right. So once we've done our research on Google, we've kind of figured out like, all right, here's how I think I want to approach this topic. I'm going to stick with what my initial hunch is. I feel like it was really validated by looking at what is ranking on this page. And I really feel like something like a listicle of the X best Squarespace templates for therapists, and then in parentheses, free and paid, or something along those lines, where we could round up a list featuring some of the other best ones out there that have a lot of reviews, and then also maybe our own template that we've built if we're a Squarespace web designer, right? So I'm going to work with that as our assumption. And now we're going to jump into the creation stage of our process here. And I see we're already running over on time for what we planned on. So I want to try and be quick here. Maybe we'll do a more in-depth deep dive if you guys want to see it on spending like a full hour on how to create content using the help of AI. But we'll go relatively quickly here. The first step before we actually dive into the creation process itself, if you're using RightBlogger, we've built a lot inside this platform to make the content you create sound way more like you and actually match your tone, your style. That's kind of a big piece of the secret sauce here that makes our tool, we believe, much better than using just something like ChatGPT straight up. And we also have a chat here inside RightBlogger as well. That's essentially a supercharged ChatGPT with some external data sources we've connected to it as well. So before we go ahead and create a blog post meeting this term of the best Squarespace templates for therapists, we want to make sure we've added a project. Now, I'm just going to quickly pop into one of my existing projects, but you'll hit the add project button. And what you'll see when you go to add a project is you have the ability to connect a MyTone, which real quick is going to be located up here in the account section. You'll want to click on that, and basically you can feed it a post from your blog, a writing sample, something you've written that you're proud of, and it'll train the AI behind the scenes in your RightBlogger account how to write in your voice, your style, your tone. Now, it's still going to be AI. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not going to nail your voice to a T every time. You need to involve yourself in the creation process if you want your content to turn out really well. Real quick on the project front, I want to show you something that's really, really useful. This essentially acts as a preset that you can apply to any of the settings on all the tools inside RightBlogger. So internal links is a really big deal here. With the RyRob connected project, whenever I create content, it's going to go out and search my blog for related content pieces that can be woven into the articles I create. And this is a huge win for SEO best practices. You can add target audience, point of view, additional instructions. I say use list formatting as often as possible where appropriate to optimize for readability, because that's something I really like in my content. You can toggle the creativity slider, and you can connect your WordPress or Ghost website We're adding some more integrations as well. We'd love to hear in the chat if you use a different CMS. If you'd like to see an integration for something else, go ahead and tell us in the chat. But if you want to learn how to connect your WordPress site, just hit that button right there and it'll show you how. Now, Andy, do you have anything to add before we jump into the content creation process?
I think you really nailed it all.
Cool. And if anything breaks, just complain to Andy. Don't bring it to me.
Yes.
I'm kidding. contact@rightblogger.com goes to both of us. So we'll see it.
We got Daniel Sullivan saying HubSpot. So yeah, we'll look into to see what we can add more.
There we go. Yes. HubSpot. That would be a really good one. We're also looking into making a Zapier integration, which I think would probably be a pretty decent middle ground workaround for HubSpot and some other ones. Squarespace as well. We got a request. Cool. Cool. Added to the list, guys. Thank you. All right. So I want to show you 2 different ways to create content. And because we're running a little over time, we may not spend a bunch of time on the actual process here. And I promise we'll do a deep dive on content creation, perhaps in the next few weeks. So stay tuned on that. But this has become my preferred method for creating content these days. This is our YouTube video to blog post generator. I love making videos now. I used to absolutely hate it, but I decided about a year ago, I decided I want to go into this as a challenge because it's not something that I felt comfortable with at first. And I would judge myself. The voice of the inner critic inside was really loud. I thought I looked dumb. I hated the sound of my voice. All the stuff that I know some of you listening will feel too. But I decided to just embrace it. And I started publishing content, video content that wasn't perfect, but lo and behold, maybe 100 or so videos in, I'm a lot better at it now than I used to be. And it's actually become fun. So I like to think of video as doing 2 things really, really well. Number 1, so many people want to consume by video these days. That's kind of an undeniable truth about the world we live in. Think about your own consumption habits. Maybe you still read. I read. But not a lot of people read a ton of content. And as Andy said earlier, when you look at a search engine result page for a topic that you want to create content about, if you see a ton of video results, that's kind of a sign that you may need to make a video in order to even be competitive on these topics. So take that into account when you go about the content creation process and you're planning how you want to approach this subject matter. And for the topic at hand here, let's say that I wanted to start my process with Squarespace templates for therapists. What I would do is I would make a video, perhaps just screen share, super simple screen share, no flashy production value or anything, of me just showing off a few of my favorite Squarespace themes that I think are good for therapists. And then also, obviously, showing my own in that pack too. And that's a really good video. Now, another second benefit of video is that you're increasing your ability to be discovered online. So number 1 is that a lot of people want to consume your content via video. Number 2 is that it gives you an additional way to get exposure. YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world behind Google, and Google owns YouTube. So there's a little bit of magic, secret sauce behind the scenes when you create a video on a topic and a solid post on your blog that has the video embedded. I have no real hard proof data to back this up, but I've seen this time and time again. There's something that really works about that paired combo for perhaps elevating your rankings both in Google search and on YouTube. So it increases your ability to get discovered. And we didn't even talk about the short form video platforms. TikTok, if it doesn't get banned, who knows? Maybe in 10 years it'll be banned. You never know. Or Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn is really pushing short form video as well. Video's here to stay. It's the future, realistically. That doesn't mean written content's dead. However, pairing the 2 together is one of the best things you could do to future-proof your content. So enough babbling here. What I would do if I made the video, I'd have my YouTube link here already. Maybe it's unlisted, maybe it's live. I would just go ahead and paste it in, and then I would toggle all of these different options based on what I wanted to make happen for this article. I tend to leave this as automatic. I'll type in the primary keyword phrase here, Squarespace, templates for therapists, and then select the my tone. Perhaps I'll choose a project like the good boy I am. And then we want to include the video embed. And then we can toggle some more options. Now, last but not least, additional instructions. This is where the magic really comes to life in your content creation process. This is where you need to add in as much detail as you absolutely can. So if you have the list of those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 is a really nice number for listicles. If you have those 10 templates, maybe you want to spell them out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. This is a really good way to make sure that the AI content that you get back is actually in line with what your hopes, your expectations are. Otherwise, when you aren't really prescriptive with AI, it's going to go out and make some decisions for you. And so you can't really be that upset if it makes decisions you don't like. Now, you could also add knowledge. There's a lot of stuff in here. Maybe we'll do an advanced RightBlogger tutorial at some point. But next, you would hit generate. We didn't use an actual video URL yet because this is a hypothetical. So I want to show you a recent one I did so that you can get an example of what this actually looks like when you do plug in a post. So you can see this is for a post, a video I made recently. Haven't even set this one live yet. And this one will go on my blog. And we can see just a quick glimpse of how it looks. Andy, do you want to hop in?
Oh no, sorry, hit the mic.
No worries.
I did do a poll, and it looks like it's like 50-50 on who's making video content in our audience today. So,
ooh, this is great. Okay, so this tool is going to be really helpful for y'all. This tool was really born out of Andy and I's need to turn videos into blog posts, repurpose our content, get more traffic from additional sources. So you can see, check this out. Rayon, I don't know who Rayon is, but I think I'm Ryan. So AI is always going to make some mistakes. You, as the content creator, are responsible to make sure that this stuff turns out the way you want it to be. And so I want to do a quick scan here. And we see we got some internal links. We've got nice formatting elements here. This is a really solid first draft. 1,192 words. Readability is grade 9. That's pretty solid for me. And what I'd want to do with this post is if you want to make some edits inside RightBlogger, you can just hit the editor tab and then you can start making some edits right here. Just do a couple examples. There we go. Ha 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 ha. And all of these edits will be saved under the editor tab. But if you go back to the original article tab, that's going to be your legacy version, the first version that was created with the help of AI. And then editor is where your changes are saved. So if you're collaborating with a team, you have other people in your account helping out, an assistant perhaps, this is a great way to make sure you always have that original when edits are made. Real quick on the SEO tab, this is where we've gone ahead and created an example SEO meta title for you. We've created a meta description. We give you a permalink suggestion. This is the URL for the article. And then we give you the primary keyword phrase. If you're using WordPress and you use something like Rank Math or Yoast SEO to help tune up the SEO of your post, by the way, great plugins, highly recommend. You can just copy this and paste it directly into your Yoast or your Rank Math and then get to optimizing. So we've designed this to be as easy as possible. You can also chat against the content we just made here and say something like, write one LinkedIn post starting with a controversial statement related to the topic of this post and use list formatting. No emojis. We don't want emojis, not for my account. And this is why we added this chat functionality here to the article level tools, is that we wanted to be able to go back and forth, ask questions, create additional pieces of content. This helps us to promote our stuff faster. And we see we get this question, want to know why most new entrepreneurs fail? It's not due to lack of information. That's honestly pretty great. I don't think I'd change that at all. And then we've got the list of basically extrapolating from my video from the post. And this is a really good LinkedIn post. I'm actually probably going to post this when I get this post live this week.
Show the prompt library also.
Yes, good call. Okay. So inside the prompt library, we have, I don't know, like 50 different prompts. We have a ton
like
of
that.
different prompts that we've created. These are some of the behind the scenes things inside of RightBlogger. And we have essentially tried to make this as easy as possible for you to get the most out of the content you're creating. Let's just click one.
You can also save like prompts that you use. It's probably the most useful part here.
Yes. Up here in
so
the
if you have
saved
ones you've
tab,
customized, yeah.
these are customized ones I've gotten.
Also,
Bloggers.
Jay Mirtez asks, which version is sent to WordPress, the edited one or the original? It depends which tab you're in. So if you're in the editor tab, it'll send the edited one. But if you're in the original tab, it'll send the original.
Love that. Beautiful. All right, guys.
So many people haven't seen the chat. Wow. Well, maybe you should make that more stand out there.
We definitely should. And so this is what chat looks like on the individual tool level. You'll see this little bubble here on any tools that have it. We also have a more general ChatGPT style chat interface here with a bunch of external data sources we've connected. And also, this is what makes our chat so special. The more you use RightBlogger and the more knowledge you add to your account, this is content you've created, stuff that nails your take, your experience, the better your creations will get using chat as well. And we've got the prompt library here. We're going to make sure we get all the other prompts added into this as well. So I want to show you guys, since we're running a little bit short on time and we've seen so many freaking questions come in that I want to get to, I want to just show you real quick what it looks like to use our AI article writer, because this is the flagship product inside RightBlogger, Squarespace templates for therapists. Now, to just save some time here, I'm going to connect my blog. This won't be perfect. Let's say we want to include some images, some stock images. Let's include some external links to other relevant sources out there on the web. Now, I'd go ahead and if I were really creating this article for my blog and I want to attract people who are looking for a Squarespace website or for help with a website, they're therapists, I'd make sure this primary keyword phrase is in here. And then as we talked about on the previous tool, put in that list of all the templates that you do want to recommend here. You could include links under the additional instructions for article. And similarly, for the outline, you can customize the outline as well. But let's quickly get through this so we can hop into the Q&A here in a couple of minutes, you guys. Now, what we're doing behind the scenes here, when you click Generate Outline, is we're packaging together all of the information you've given AI with our prompting and our best practices behind the scenes to come up with an outline that you now have the opportunity to proof. And what I love about this outline builder we've created, this looks really extensive, by the way, is that you can drag things around. If you don't like the order of something, let's just go ahead and move some stuff around. You can click the pencil. You can edit things. A lot of people don't know this exists, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some surprises in the chat around this. On a lot of my strategy calls, this one surprises people. So adding additional instructions at the real, like each individual header section level is another really helpful way to make sure that the content reflects your expertise and the way that you want to approach it. Because again, AI can't read your mind. It doesn't have a glimpse into everything you know about the thing you're an expert at. So use these tools to help you, but it's not going to do the work for you. If you don't like something, you can hit the trash button, it'll trash it. If there's something missing, just hit the add outline item and you can do that too. Let's just quickly generate this article. And I see a lot of really good comments from you guys. You are so awesome. Mark, more of these streams from Ryan and Andy. We're going to do a deep dive on the tool. I see a few questions around wanting to see like much more detail on how to get the most out of these tools, and we're not really getting to that today, guys. I'm sorry for that, but an hour's not a lot of time. So we will come back and do a much deeper dive specifically on the creation process. And I'd like to tailor it to both approaches, using video and starting from scratch without a video. Maybe we'll start with that because that's what we're spending less time on here today. But just to give you a quick glimpse here, we get some nice formatting elements. We got the bullet points, some bold. We've got internal links. This one goes to my blog. We've got an external link. This one goes to the Squarespace blog. I love this. We've got some images in here. And once this is done, we'll keep an eye on this as it's generating. This can often take up to a couple of minutes, depending on the length of the article. This one's probably going to come back, pretty long outline, come back somewhere above 2,000 words would be my guess. So we will see how that goes. We'll come back and check on this. And I want to just quickly talk about promotion here for a couple minutes before we hop into the Q&A section. So let's say, speeding through this process here, you're going to want to get this first draft blog post, because this is a first draft. Please don't publish this as is. We hate when that happens because AI is not perfect. It's also not you. And so you investing the time to inject your stories, your real life examples, your experiences into the content is what's going to make it truly special. And think about what the future could look like here. In a world where everyone is using AI tools to just click a button, make a blog post, what's going to stand out? It's you. It's your unique lived experiences. And AI can never replace that, because AI will always be something inherently different no matter what. So it's you that makes your content special. Remember that. Take your time on editing. I usually spend somewhere between, this is where my perfectionism shines, an hour up to a few hours even on editing a post, something that's almost 3,000 words in length we see here. I'll spend editing on it. You can edit right here in RightBlogger using the editor tab, or you can send it, to your WordPress connected site, do your editing over there, finish up your formatting, all those nice little bits. But this is a one-click send to WordPress process. All the formatting pulls through perfectly. So we've made that really nice for you. Andy, do you want to add anything before I jump into a quick touch on promotion?
I think you nailed it. I definitely recommend editing in WordPress, especially if you use like a block editor or a page builder, because it's kind of hard to like get those elements exactly perfect in an editor we make. So
yeah, and that goes especially true if you use anything kind of custom inside your WordPress install. Highly recommend editing there as well. That's what I do personally. So very, very quick touch on promotion, and then I think we got a topic for another live stream, a deep dive on promotion, content promotion. We will add that to our list, and that one will probably be in February. Now, I want to just show you promotion number one is SEO, organic traffic from people doing Google searches. There's an article on my blog that I effectively used the process we just talked about here to identify a pain point. Tons of people emailing me asking if keyword tools are reliable. And I was like, oh my God, I need to write a blog post answering this question because I'm answering this over email so many times. So it's a really cool way to identify pain points, as if people leave comments on your blog, they ask you things. Think about what your friends ask you, business associates, customers, potential clients. Those questions are really like little nuggets of gold for content pieces you create. This is just one example. This is what, if you go through the creation, editing, and publishing process using one of RightBlogger's tools, this is the eventual end result goal here: to rank high, ideally number one, in Google and other search engine results for the question you've got here. So this is promotion number one, using SEO as the number one method. And just real quick, I wanted to show you guys the power of having an email list. So many of y'all joined this live stream because you got an email from us, right? Email marketing is one of the most effective channels we've seen. And this email to my personal list, I sent to the most engaged segment of my audience, 67,000 or so people. It got 896 clicks. That 896 real people clicked on this email to join the live class. And over here, this is our most engaged segment of the RightBlogger community. Almost 11,000 people were invited to join this class. Over 200 clicked through. So we're talking over 1,100 people who joined or RSVP'd for the class, clicking through on a link. Perhaps they RSVP'd based on just sending one email about it to both of our email lists. So please don't sleep on the power of email lists. If you don't have an email list yet for your site, please start one today. It can be as simple as sign up for my email newsletter, where I release monthly content designed to help you do XYZ as what your specialty is related to your business. I highly recommend it. I think everyone I talk to says they wish they started their email newsletter earlier.
And I've never started an email newsletter, and it's like one of my biggest regrets with my travel blog. Like, I could have been collecting emails this whole time, and the one thing that really held me back is like, oh, I want to have like all this value in one email, otherwise people won't be subscribed. And it's like, it's just the wrong way to look at it. You really have to be like, one new video, send an email. One new post, it's okay to just say, hey, new post is up. Here's what you're going to learn. Check it out. Like, it's really low stress. People are going to unsubscribe who don't want to get that information, and people will subscribe who do. So, I mean, I really recommend starting an email newsletter.
Yeah, the best time to start your email newsletter is always yesterday. The next best time is today. Okay, so email is number 2 promo. And then number 3, I just want to touch so quickly. Oh my gosh, we're running out of time. So quickly on building relationships with other people in your niche. So let's say that you want to spread the word about your therapy-related Squarespace website templates. One awesome place to do that could be with other influencers in the therapy space. And so I would first turn to people who have podcasts related to therapy and just doing a really quick Google search, therapy podcasts. We see a ton. Google wants to show me 15 more. Let's check them all out. Some of these are spot on. Some of them, maybe not. Some of them are really huge, but some of these shows are not going to be as big, dear therapists. Some of these may be really approachable people too. Never sleep on like the interest that others will have if you bring them real value. I see a lot of people say that they're afraid to reach out to someone who looks like they're way more established or have a huge audience. But I can tell you, as someone who has like a pretty sizable audience myself, I take guest post submissions from people all the time. I really love when someone reaches out to me with something valuable for my audience, because it's a win for my audience. It's a win for me. I get content to fuel that newsletter list. And the person who publishes the blog post or perhaps does a podcast episode gets to showcase what they have to offer to my audience as well. So it's a win-win-win, whether you're guest blogging or pitching yourself as a guest on a potential podcast. So basically what we're seeing here is, I pulled up a Reddit forum as well, lists of really good therapy podcasts, and then I've got therapy blogs, different blogs related to therapy. So this is essentially what we've just tackled here, is a long list, very long list of probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of sites that publish content related to therapy. And when you are, let's get the screen share off because I want to encourage myself to stop talking shortly. When you're publishing content, you don't have an audience for yourself yet. The best way to grow your audience is by building real, meaningful relationships with other creators, other business owners who do have the audience you want to reach, and strategizing on ways that you can approach them with real, meaningful value for both their business and their audience. That's a no-brainer. And if you want to strategize on that kind of thing, you can drop me an email anytime, ryan@rightblogger.com, or better yet, if you want to hop on one of our strategy calls, if you're an unlimited member, we will specifically figure out how to do that in your space. That's the kind of stuff I love doing. Okay, I want to cut myself off. I feel like I talked a ton there. Andy, would you want to add anything else before we hop into the Q&A section?
I mean, I think you really covered it all. And also from what you just said about, reaching out to people, cold outreach. I mean, I don't know how many, you obviously get a lot more emails than me, but like there are so many people who automate outreach or just put like clearly they just bulk send it stuff. And it's like if you just take a minute just to actually email people, like, it's very obvious. Like I know there's services to automate that now, but I just think being real and like reaching out to people in that way is the way to go.
I'm so glad you said that because I send very simple outreach emails that are like maximum 2 very short paragraphs. I'm talking like a few sentences tops. Don't write a novel in your outreach email. You're really wanting to just gauge interest and show the person you're reaching out to that you can provide value to them and their audience. And take 5 minutes to check out their website, listen to their podcasts, watch a video, get to understand who they are just very, very quickly. And I can promise you the quality over quantity approach is always going to pay off. Okay.
Also, Steve did ask a good question I wanted to make sure we get to.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to hop into Q&A. If you guys have questions, we can hang out a few extra minutes here. Pop them into the chat. No bad questions. Please ask. But yeah, Andy, go ahead.
So Steve asked, how much should you edit to avoid being hit by AI content? And do you mind if I speak on that real quick?
Oh, for sure.
I think there's just like a big misconception about like, at least that I'm aware of. I don't think Google or search engines or any platform is going to punish you for posting AI content. You really could just generate posts and put them immediately on your blog, and I don't really see that as a negative in terms of an automated system flagging you. I think the big thing that Google looks down on is if if you publish 10 articles a day, that is like clearly going to flag in Google's system. Like, oh, this person publishes once a week and now they're publishing 10 times a day. That's obviously not natural. So I think edit the post as much as that makes you feel like this is a good piece of content and you're actually contributing something by putting it up. And sometimes just like very, bare bones edit is needed. So
you nailed it. And from my perspective, there is no really, specific checklist or template for what makes the perfectly edited AI assisted post. It's something that feels right to you. And when you read it, if it has your personality injected into it, that's when you know you're on the right track. And then you also want to nail all your SEO best practices. We've tuned the article related tools inside RightBlogger a lot to nail this on the first go round, but AI is never perfect. Doesn't always listen to instructions. It's kind of like a toddler. Sometimes it does what you ask, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a really powerful assistant. And so when you add your layer of stories, examples, experiences into it with giving it that once over for SEO best practices, then you should be good. Okay. I see some questions rolling in here. I'm going to grab one, and then Andy, you can grab one after this, but let's see. I'm using a Shopify blog. Am I wasting my time?
I would love to comment on this.
You want to comment on it?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't know what you're going to say, but I think I used to be really like adamant about the platform and stuff like that, but I really do think it's not as important as, if you're just simply blogging, it's okay. Just use Shopify or Squarespace or whatever you're currently using. If you definitely want to make it more of a business and modify your site more and really customize everything, WordPress is clearly the way to go, but I don't think you're like wasting time by using a Shopify blog is my take.
I feel as long as you're using Shopify, Squarespace, HubSpot, Ghost, WordPress, as long as you're using one of the major platforms, and with this really big caveat, publishing on your own domain. Please own the domain. Don't use something
Great
like
point.
Tumblr or Blogger that's going to be like, your website.tumblr.com. That's not a long-term sustainable practice to build a business around the content you're creating. So as long as you own your domain and you're using one of the major platforms, they're pretty much all going to have pretty solid SEO best practices baked in behind the scenes, and you're not going to really be in a bad spot with them. But our personal bias is pretty much all the websites we run, actually I think every single one of them, is built on WordPress. And we really like WordPress ourselves.
Yeah, it's definitely like a little bit of a learning curve too.
Yeah. Okay, Andy, do you want to pick any questions that you've seen, if you have any that have jumped out to you up to this point?
Well, I see Jay Mirtez asked how to book a strategy call. I included the link in the chat there. Yeah, Ryan, I don't know if you want to note, just like talk about the strategy call for a minute.
Oh, for sure. So rightblogger.com/call, there's going to be a little, if, as long as you're an unlimited subscriber, the button will say book a call or schedule a call, and then it'll pop up a little calendar widget and you'll be able to see what my calendar looks like. Just pick a time that works for both of us, based on what your calendar looks like as well. And I'll add this caveat too. If you don't see something for like the next month, or if it's, several months out, I don't like that. Let me know. If you go to look at my calendar and it's really far out, just drop me an email, ryan@rightblogger.com, and we'll make something happen sooner than that. I try and limit a lot of my days to no more than 3 calls so that I can give people really good, actionable, like fresh advice and things to do. But I have some days in my week that I can shuffle things around too. So we'll make it happen sooner if you don't see something there. Daniel, you ask, love the tool. I'd love to have recipes for workflows so I can hand out tasks. Ooh, that's really interesting. Andy, do
Yeah,
you like what comes to mind to you when he asks recipes for workflows?
yeah, I'm not really when it says so I can hand out a task. I'm not sure what that means. But what I would love, I mean, I'm gonna be the one programming it, but what I would love to add is the ability to, like, after you make an article, like generate a tweet, generate a newsletter, like specific things, like pick the things that happens afterwards. Oh, he had an example here.
Aha. So this would be like handing off a workflow for your team to help throughout the process, like some sort of documentation inside.
When we actually make teams, I think we could do something like this with like comments, actually, like, flag your teammate or something like that. I think that's kind of what would be helpful here.
For anyone, still here with us live, we're a couple minutes over. We'll keep hanging out. But for anyone here, if you would use a Teams account, if you have multiple people on your team, you have an assistant, a VA that helps you with stuff, could you just drop in the comments, like say Teams in the comments? Because we really want to add this, but we want to make sure that people are going to use it inside RightBlogger. So if you would use Teams, let us know. That's something we definitely want to add in the near future, and we'd love your feedback on how to best do that as well.
I love Mark's question here too, is what's coming next for Right Blogger.
Ooh, this is a good one for you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have we're still working on it, but we're gonna have a way where you can actually generate a tool and then embed it in your blog post. So you can have your own AI tools for your blog embedded, and kind of use that as a lead magnet. That's kind of what we're working on now. And then after that, I really want to rework the article writer a little bit and make it a little bit more intuitive and easy to use. But yeah, Mark, if there's anything that specific you'd like to see us make, definitely let us know.
I'll show you guys just real quick. I shared my screen, a preview of what the embeddable tools will look like. This is here on my blog, ryrob.com/tools. I know some of y'all have seen this already, but if you want to just check this out as an example, let's say the conclusion writer. This would be a example. Again, this is not exactly how the tools are going to work inside of RightBlogger, but if you reached other writers, maybe you want to also have a conclusion generator tool for your audience. And perhaps you can embed that tool on a page and then have some instructions on how to do it below. This is the kind of thing that we have found really helps generate, honestly, hundreds of thousands of visitors a month to my blog. And basically making free tools for your audience is one of the best relationship building things you can do. So combination of traffic driving and email capture. So being able to say, hey, I've used this conclusion generator once or twice. Now you can send a message that says, all right, go ahead and sign up with your email to unlock more uses of the tool. And you would collect the email address, connect it to your MailChimp account, your HubSpot, your Kit, whatever your email service provider is. And basically be able to scale your lead generation on autopilot over time. And the best thing, I've gotten to see like a preview of what Andy's working on behind the scenes. The best thing about Tool Studio, it'll be called Tool Studio inside RightBlogger, is that you'll be able to come up with tools that tackle any sort of niche problem that you want. So think about, again, what we talked about today, audience pain points. And if the intent that best solves their pain points is a free tool that helps them do something, there's no wrong way to niche that tool down. It could be I mean, you know, I don't want to just make up random examples, but something niche specific is going to do really well because there's not going to be a ton of competition for it.
You could do a blog name for therapists generator. Like that would
That's
be
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like Ryan, it's really not that difficult to make an example since we just spent the whole thing doing that.
Oh, I love it. Oh, this is so good. Thank you guys for commenting that you'd use Teams as well. That's really helpful to hear.
Michelle, the additional instructions is a good place to put keywords you want to put or any instructions like that. Basically, like what you put there is directly put it in front of the AI. So if you want to ask it to do something really specific, it's a good spot to do that.
Cool. And Lisa added a really cool use case here. I'd love one for ROI for her clients to measure their social media ROI. That's a really good one. What do you think about calculators?
Yeah, so calculators would be, we did talk about that. We probably will eventually have more mathematical things. But for what you said, we could probably make an AI version, but it'd be like incorrect information. But still probably be useful for people though.
Cool. So the first round of tools are going to be basically text-based outputs. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Cool. I dig it. All
right.
We
need that, Steve, the saved list of keywords. We definitely need to add that.
Yes. Oh, this is so awesome, you guys. I had a lot of fun here. Now I'm just looking at the comments. Cool. All right. We're about 7 minutes over from the time we allotted for this session. So I want to thank you all. Really thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, especially those of y'all who use RightBlogger, whether free or paid, it doesn't matter. We have so much love for you. And I want to offer too, to please reach out anytime you have questions. I'm Ryan at rightblogger.com. I'm going to dox Andy. He's Andy at rightblogger.com. Send us any questions you guys have. There's no wrong question. We'll help you whether you're a RightBlogger user or not. We just want to be useful to you guys. And for those of you that are unlimited subscribers, if you haven't taken me up on my offer yet to hop on a strategy call, please do. Just rightblogger.com/call. If you haven't checked out our courses, rightblogger.com/courses. The first one, AI Foundations, goes into a lot of what we covered today, but in even more depth, believe it or not. I talk more inside the course. But for now, we're going to call it a day. And thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.